Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, bienvenue to Pure Fano. You like that?
That was
Pure
good.
Finesse. Malcolm, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Ontario, right?
Oh yeah, the golf courses are open. More importantly, the tennis courts are
Right.
open.
More importantly,
More
talking a lot of
importantly,
smack about intramural tennis today.
anyone wants to sign up and Brock and Roll tennis, I'll slap you around. It won't be fun. There'll be a couple donuts coming your way. 6060. So if you want to have a donut, just like any cop, I'll be very happy to give it to you.
Well, I don't know. I was looking a little scared until you said 6060. Because if you know any tennis player,
It's
I think
six
it's
love,
six
six
love.
love.
I
I'm
think
dumbing
that
it
is
down
correct.
for
Yes,
the
I
people who
believe
don't know tennis.
that is the correct terminology. So, your standards I had of you just went from here to here real
I'm
quick.
trying to get all the viewers to understand, but if I say six love, they're like, "What? What's he will love? Does he love tennis?" Well, yeah, I love
Come on,
tennis,
love. I
but
guess
come
that's
on now.
come on, love. But we're not here to talk about Malcolm's awesome tennis game as much as he may be. It's all
Oh man,
about the NBA today, and the first round of the NBA playoffs start this weekend. They should be on your way by the time you hear this video.
yeah.
Malcolm, what is your interpretation, since it's over now, the play-in tournament?
Okay, I was from the get go. I'm not a fan of the playing tournament. I understand. Like at first, what I thought it was like I didn't really know the rules at first. I thought it was like 7 and 8 battle for a seventh seed and 9 and 10 battle for eighth seed. I'm like, well, that's really dumb because like why would you do that? But then I understood like the loser plays the winner of this game, blah blah blah, which in a sense made more sense. But overall, I disagree with the playing tournament. I think it should have just been 7 and 8, make it. You would have seen MVP candidate Steph Curry in it if it was just 7 and 8, but they had to go through the playing tournament. Everyone thinking they're going to beat Memphis, right? And Memphis came out on top with Jaw having ice in his veins at the end of that game.
Yeah, you probably just don't like it because you ride LeBron. So just you like anything that LeBron likes, right?
Well, LeBron after he can't see, man, and he sunk that shot over Curry. Come on now.
Anyway, I am actually a big fan of the play-in tournament. I think it makes the last two regular season games so much, if you want to call them regular season games, because that's what they are essentially,
Yeah, I guess.
much more exciting to watch. Because I mean, you were fired up when LeBron made that three-pointer, and that's just
Well,
a regular season game. Am I right?
obviously I was fired up, but I was not a fan
Exactly.
that he had to play that game. Like he should have been in
Exactly.
already.
It's more revenue, more viewership for the NBA.
Exactly.
I'm sure they're not complaining about it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it wouldn't get more buzz if not for Memphis winning the
Yeah.
last game
Honestly.
of the play-in tournament because they weren't slated to be
Hmm.
in the NBA playoffs until Dylan Brooks and company took care of business and beat out the Dubs to make it into the playoffs. But we're going to start in the Eastern Conference with the number one seeded Philadelphia 76ers going up against the eighth seeded Washington Wizards. Philly's not getting a whole lot of respect here being the first overall seed in the
They aren't, and they do have an MVP candidate, right, in Joel Embiid. But we're gonna see Joel against Westbrook again. We know that rivalry; they don't like each other. We've seen that when Russ was on OKC. But he turned it on in the last playing game for them against the Pacers. They didn't have to play the full game because they completely dominated. It was like a 142, 118 or something like that.
It was a big spread.
It was a big spread. Russ turned it on. He was getting a lot of hate for his performance against the Celtics, but what can you do? It's the Boston Celtics. So, um, at the same time, though, I think Philly's just too good of a team to lose this series. I think maybe Westbrook and Beal will have a few good games where they take away one or two games from the Sixers, but I
You're
don't see
saying
it
in
going.
six.
Pardon?
You're saying Philly in six.
I'm saying Philly in six. Yep.
Wow. So you're
Yep.
not even putting respect on Philly's name.
It's the Wizards, man. I think Westbrook's able to turn it on when he wants to turn it on. They still have Bradley Beal. They have Rui Hashimura from
All right,
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Exactly, you got to mention, but he did play good too. So they have a lot of other key pieces too. But I don't see Philly sweeping or um, coming away out of the series easily.
I think it's Philly in five. Like you said before, Philly or Joel Embiid, part rather, has a bit of a history with Russell Westbrook. If you
Yeah,
remember, I want to say it was probably close to 6 years ago, if you can go that far back in
yeah,
time, with Joel Embiid posting that picture on his Instagram saying it was a crime scene, him dunking over Russell Westbrook. So
yeah.
I'm sure those hostilities will be renewed come playoff time. And it'll be interesting to see Defensive Player of the Year candidate Ben Simmons against Russell Westbrook because I'm sure those two are very unfamiliar to each other. So if Mr. Triple Double himself, Russell Westbrook, needs to get free. It's going to be tough against arguably the best 2K player ever in Ben Simmons. So I will be saying the Philadelphia 76ers to beat the Wizards in 5. The next game on the Eastern Conference side is the 2-seeded Brooklyn Nets against your 7th-seeded Boston Celtics. I said this to you already. I think Jason Tatum needs to drop at least 50 every game to even have a chance at winning one.
Yeah, he's either gonna have to drop 50 or Kemba's gonna have to come in and start dropping 30 and 42 along with his 50 because it's gonna be an offensive game for Brooklyn, obviously, but Brad Stevens' defense, his defensive tactics are gonna have to kick in here. It wasn't the same defense that you usually see on the Celtics this season. It wasn't great, wasn't pretty. They finished it with a 500 record, right? They haven't done that in a very long time. I'm not confident. I don't think any team would be confident going against the three-headed monster Brooklyn Nets because they're just so stacked with Harden, Kyrie, and Durant, and they're all healthy, right? They took their rest days when needed. Now they can all start
Harden
and
drinks are
play.
smoothly on the bench. Sure, it's all good there in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm saying, obviously, if I was being biased, I'd say Celtics in 7, right? But
Probably right.
it's
Surprised you
that's
haven't said that.
but honestly, realistically, if we just take that bias out, it's probably Brooklyn or in like 5 or 6 games. Maybe Tatum steals a game like he did against the Wizards where he dropped 50 and goes off, but he's gonna have to lock in. Shades of Kobe Bryant, shades of Michael Jordan in that
Can't even
kid.
compare Jason Tatum to Kobe Bryant. Yeah.
Yes, you can with his moves.
How
I
many
don't know if you,
finals? How
I
many
don't.
finals?
I'm just saying
Thank you.
not his overall like his accolades, but his moves and his playing style. I think a lot of people will compare him if you do a side by side to Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. But I don't see Celtics getting out of this first round
That
here.
is the point exactly I'm trying to make. Jason
No,
Tatum's a good player, but he is not going to stand up against Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving
no,
to
and
save
no Jalen Brown, right? So what are you gonna do?
Brooklyn Nets in 5.
Yeah,
No questions about it. A bit more intriguing matchups that probably will be more competitive than the first two. The 3rd-seeded Milwaukee Bucks to play the 6th-seeded Miami Heat. Giannis Antetokounmpo not looking so confident going into this series, saying that it's basically the same team that they're fielding up against the same team of Miami. And you know how that ended up for them last year in the bubble in Orlando? They got bounced.
exactly.
So I think the team under the most pressure out of this whole playoff into 16 teams is the Milwaukee Bucks. 'Cause they've
100%.
been there pushing at the door for just a finals berth for the last 5 seasons. Coach Bud is definitely on the hot seat if they don't make it to the Eastern Conference
I was gonna
Finals. So there
say.
is a lot riding on this playoff run.
I was gonna say exactly what you said. If they don't make it out, like let's say they get knocked out in the first round, Bud's out of there. He's fired immediately because you got to change something up, and you're not getting rid of Giannis. You're keeping him. He's your franchise player. So I don't know. I think it's the Heat, right? Jimmy Butler. If you saw the picture of him, he's super jacked now after getting hit with
Almost
COVID.
looking as good as me over here. No big deal.
Yeah, after getting hit with COVID, though, he was looking like Jay, and then
Wow.
boom, and then boom, he got
Whoa,
jacked up
whoa,
again.
whoa.
Jay, I'm just kidding. I'm just
I know.
kidding.
I love you.
Don't worry. Well, gotta take a breath now. No,
Exactly.
but he's looking
Playing for
jacked. I
help.
think he's
No big
ready to
deal.
lead his team. But I don't see Miami actually winning the series. I would have Milwaukee in 6 games. I think Giannis is just gonna. I think he wants to prove everyone wrong, right? I'm not a huge fan of Giannis. I know he's the nicest guy. It's only solely on the fact that my best friend Paul keeps bringing him
Best
up and
friend.
talking.
Oh, I'm a head out.
Best friend since childhood. It's like, come on, man. But he keeps saying that Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be like the greatest player of all time. I'm not buying that, but I think he has to win this to gain some respect of some people because he's never made a finals and I don't think he's ever going to win a chip, but he's got to go far in this round, in this playoffs at least.
Yeah. I think the fire is definitely under Antetokounmpo's butt to
Yeah,
get to the conference finals at least this season. They got some very good additions. Drew Holiday is a good addition. So they
very
actually
good.
have a point guard, unlike Eric Bledsoe being he's not really known for scoring the ball and right on the defensive side.
Depoy.
So they can probably have a bit more options other than Giannis and Middleton to shoot
Yeah,
the ball. So I think they're poised for make a good run this year, and I think they're gonna get past Miami, unlike last year. So I will say, like you said, Milwaukee in 6. This next matchup, I'm very, very excited to watch. And this
Yes.
is probably my series to watch in the Eastern Conference. Is the four-seeded New York Knickerbockers
Yes,
against
sir.
the five-seeded Atlanta Hawks. New York, I don't think a lot of people gave much of a shot for them to make the playoffs, let alone have a home seed in the playoffs at four.
Yeah.
Julius Randle took a lot of smack coming into the season. The Knicks fans were on him pretty good for the last couple of seasons since he signed with New York. He's proven management right this year, up for most improved player of the year for obvious reasons. And coach Tom Thibodeau
Yeah.
has got his men in shape.
Turning it around. Like your front runner for MIP, right? And Julius Randle, he's just put this team on his back. He does have a lot of help though in RJ Barrett, Nerlens Noel there, Derrick Rose, right? A six man of the year candidate as well. So this team is really, it's a well put together team. Atlanta on the other side, they have a lot of young talent as well. So I think, like you said, it's going to be the best series in the East for sure. That's not lopsided in either way. And I think I have the Knicks here. I have the Knicks winning it in 6 games. I think they're going to pull it out. I just think that they're just going to turn it on more than Atlanta will, unless you see a lot of Trae Young, like we saw Trae Young in his first year or so, where he was just putting up like amazing shots constantly. I think the Knicks are going to take this one.
I think so too. I think in the Knicks are going to win in 7 games. Atlanta
Nice.
has been very, very good in the second half of the season after firing their coach Lloyd Pierce and hiring former Indiana coach Nate McMillan. They've been on a tear since hiring him as their head coach. He should be the get the interim tag removed very, very soon after the season because they've been playing unbelievable basketball with him as their head coach. But I think New York has got a bit more size than Atlanta and a bit more, a little bit more J action on that one. But and you're talking about most improved players too. Like Julius Randle should be the front runner to win that. John
Yeah,
Collins' name is not getting a whole lot of talk. Wasn't
that's
up
true.
as a finalist for most improved player of the year. I think he should have. He's been playing very good basketball for Atlanta. He is a number two guy in Atlanta behind Trae Young, obviously. So this is going to be the two teams of the future. I think a really good young talent, young core, and I think they're going to be in the playoffs for a very long time. MSG will be rocking Sunday night. No big deal. They got the primetime slot.
Better be.
The Western Conference has the Utah Jazz as the 1 seed to go up as the aforementioned now 8 seed Memphis Grizzlies. Donovan Mitchell's injury is still up in the air. He's probably not going to come into this series at 100%. And I think they're going to have to if they want to try to contain John Morant because Steph Curry couldn't.
No, Steph couldn't do it. It's not like, and you had JV, right? In the first game too, where he put up like a 20 and 20 game.
23
Yep, exactly, with his boards. So you gotta look out for a lot of people in Memphis, like you said, Dylan Brooks as well. But Utah, right? They're that number one seed. They're number one for a reason. They have a depoy candidate. They have Donovan Mitchell. You don't know. We still don't know. They have Joe Ingles, who's been playing great, who's a six-man of the year candidate, and Jordan Clarkson, who's also a six-man of the year candidate. So I think they got a lot of power on this team. They got a lot of depth on this team. I actually would say I would have the Utah Jazz winning this one in 5 games.
I think the Utah Jazz are going to win the series. I think it's going to be in 6. However, I think Memphis has got a bit more defensive prowess. Jaren Jackson Jr. is back in their lineup. He's missed most of the season. He is playing big minutes, played most of the playoff game. But I think it's going to be a battle of the bigs, man. It's going to be Rudy Gobert against Jonas Valanciunas. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a prime matchup to watch. Those guys will be racking up the boards and racking up the dunks. So it's going to be a pretty good heavyweight tilt, even though it's 1 versus 8. The next matchup is probably the best one of the West. It's the 2 seeded Phoenix Suns against the 7 seeded Los Angeles Lakers, your defending NBA champions. I mean, damn. What kind of storyline do you want to look at here? It says the banana boat crew CP3 versus LeBron.
And talking about LeBron, right? I don't know if you guys heard this, but he did go to that party beforehand, before the
You
game
saw the
against
IG picks.
Pardon? Yeah, you saw the IG pics, and a lot of people saying that. Well, the league saying he broke COVID-19 protocols, but he's not going to get suspended. And a lot of people are saying, is that kind of a double standard? But
100%.
at the party, actually,
It's
for
not a
everyone
playoff
who's
game.
hating on LeBron doing it, you have to show actually a negative test or show your proof of vaccination. So I think Dennis Schroeder even said that he's the only sole player on the Lakers team who is not vaccinated. So I think LeBron James is vaccinated and he's okay. So that's why they're not as concerned.
If it
But
wasn't a playoff game, he would be suspended.
Exactly.
Too much
Um,
being lost for the NBA if LeBron's not playing.
yeah, that'd be a major revenue loss. I would not be watching any of the Laker games if LeBron is not playing. Um, but that being said, Phoenix Suns great team. But I just have the Lakers. I think the Lakers are still going to win this one. It's LeBron James, right? He has not been on a seed. What team? Like fourth seed? I don't ever think he's been on like a fourth seed or like lower than that.
The lowest
Um,
point in the playoffs.
yeah, unless it was like earlier on in his career,
How
but
many times he's made the finals, and you know how many times he's made the playoffs. Only missed the playoffs once.
yeah, like
What, 16-year career, 17-year career,
17 years, and it's
and that was
LeBron.
2 seasons ago
It's
when he
it's
missed
play
when he
when he
signed.
was injured. When he was injured, so it's playoff Braun. He's going to turn it on. So and he still has the help of AD, and he has all his weapons on his team as well. I say I have the Lakers winning this one in 6 games.
I think the Lakers are winning in 7. Unfortunately, I do think that the Phoenix is just going to be too young and too immature right now. This is only their first playoff run, I think, since 2012. I would like to say, and that was when the core was Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion. So this is a whole new crew. Monty Williams, 8-0 in the bubble last year. He won the Coaches Association Coach of the Year. So very well respected head coach this season, but I just think playoff experience and defending champions with the ring
Exactly.
on their finger just proves a bit too much for a young team in Phoenix who will definitely be back. The 3 seed, the Denver Nuggets, are going to play the 6 seeded Portland Trailblazers. We're going to be robbed of a Jamal Murray, Damian Lillard matchup, unfortunately, due to Jamal tearing his ACL.
Yeah,
But the Joker, who right now, I say what you want, is definitely the front runner to be the MVP this
100%.
season.
Come on.
Is that going to be enough to overpower Dame and CJ?
That's the thing. I'm gonna say for this series, have your eye out for an upset alert because I don't know if the Denver Nuggets will make it out against the like. It's not guaranteed, right? Well, nothing's guaranteed, but this one I feel like is more up in the air than most other series in these playoffs. It's two very competitive teams. It's going to be Dame versus like Jokic, who can play better, basically, who's going to carry their team better. I will still have the front runner for the MVP winning this series. I think Nikola Jokic, making his teammates better all around him. I think they're going to win this one in 7 games.
I will actually agree with you with both of them. I think that Denver will win in 7.
Mhm.
I think Dame is going to be on, Damian Lillard. He's going to be the man again as per usual. Probably drop
Yeah,
30 points per game every for the series.
yeah,
Um, but I think Jokic has got more underrated weapons, and I think for Denver is just a deeper team. Portland's got some good starters, but I mean they don't really have much guys coming off the bench,
yeah.
whether you like it or not. But Denver, they got a bunch of shooters: Gary Harris, Will the Thrill Barton,
Paul
Michael Porter
Millsap.
Jr., who's up for Most Improved.
Yeah.
So I mean, much more deeper team in Denver, and they're third place for a reason. And that they played most of the latter half of the year without Jamal Murray. So I mean, they know how to win without him.
And just to mention this, Nikola Jokic has played every single game this season. He has not missed one. So his durability, I feel like for people who are talking, well, we'll get into it later, but I just feel like that's an important stat to keep in mind when you're thinking about MVP as well. Just
The
gonna say
last
that.
series that we have not talked about yet in the West is the fourth-seeded Los Angeles
Rematch.
Clippers to go back up and play the fifth-seeded Dallas Mavericks in a rematch of the bubble last year, I believe, in the first round.
I think it was the first round. If I'm thinking.
So Luca versus Kawhi, Luca versus Paul George, whoever they want to put up against, it's going to be a matchup to watch. But I think they're going to have a healthy Kristaps Porzingis, which they did not have last year.
Exactly.
So, I mean, a little bit more intrigue for this series rather than last year in the bubble. But I mean, hey, I think that Tyronn Lue and the Clippers, again, they right up there with Milwaukee, probably the most pressure to go far in the playoffs because they haven't gone far yet with this group.
They do, and I don't think it's going to be their year again because I think Dallas is going to win this series in 7 games. Like you said, I was going to mention and Kristaps Porzingis coming back, being healthy this year, and then Luka Magic. I think it's just going to be on a different level for these playoffs because he's going to want to prove his legacy and that he can make a run in the playoffs as well. Because a lot of people don't. Well, like you said, the Clippers kind of have that against them where they can't make a deep run, and Luka kind of has that on him, right? As of right now, only like 3 years into his career. But that's how good he is. So I think Dallas will win this series in 7 games.
I'm flipping the script. I think the Clippers are going to win in 6. I just think that, again, like Denver is. I think the Clippers are a bit more of a deeper team. They can have multiple people come off the bench. Usual defensive first team all defense. Pat Bev, you know how it is. He's gonna be up. I would wish to see him and Luka go at it in this series. I hope that happens, but I hope that this is going to be a 6-game series and the Clip Show are going to win. And hey, if it happens, I've been waiting for 2 years for this now. I want a battle of LA in the conference finals.
And LA.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want that. That'd be
About
amazing to
damn
see.
time.
Yeah.